Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome into the Farzy Show. My name is Marc Farzetta, and we're here at the Steven Singer Studios. A lot to get into today. We're going to start it off with Ben Simmons' conversation and also Adrian Wojnarowski. And what he is saying is the latest right now as far as Ben Simmons, the 76ers, and a possible trade goes with the 76ers' former number one overall pick. Then a little bit later on in the show, we're going to get into the Philadelphia Phillies as they got a little series going on here with the first place New York Metropolitans. So we will get into that as well today. And, of course, we'll kick around the Eagles just a wee bit with some things that they got going on. Jack McCaffery will join us from the Delco Times to break down all things 76ers as well as Phillies. And we'll find out a couple of things from Jack. One, everyone's looking over here. Hi, everyone's over here. They're going, trade Ben Simmons. Is this Ben Simmons going to get traded? And Jack, and this is what I love about Jack McCaffery. Jack's all the way over here. Jack's like, what if the Sixers traded Joel Embiid? And he's got some evidence to support that theory. And here's, again, what I love about Jack. Guys like Jack, guys like Marcus Hayes, for instance, and guys like Mike Sealski, these guys, it's not like they push an opinion in your face. They just kind of say what if a lot of times. And I appreciate the what if, because it makes you think outside the box a little bit more than maybe you were already thinking outside the box. When everyone else is looking left, you might be going right. And that's something I appreciate because sometimes I don't even think that way. And when these guys write a column, they write to kill. And this column that is written by Jack McCaffery came out yesterday afternoon with the Delco Times on what if the Sixers are really eyeing the potential of trading Joel Embiid. What if that's the direction they go? Now, I do ask Jack point blank about who he would rather trade, Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid, and I think he gives the right answer there. We'll let you hear from him in just a minute. But it's a very interesting article. If you get a chance later today to read the article, make sure you do, because it does at least make you think. So we'll get into that a little bit later with Jack McCaffery coming up in about 20 minutes or so. But right out of the gate, ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you, I did a Farzy in the field, and we'll play it for you a little bit later today. I was out and about the city, and let me just say this. Philadelphia, God, you look beautiful. You really did. I was just thinking about that when I was out yesterday, walking around, restaurants open, people walking around, the vast majority not wearing masks, And I try to match energy when I do the Farzy in the field bit. Like if I'm going up to somebody who's wearing a mask, I'll throw my mask on. Because I don't know if they got something going on, whatever. So just walking around yesterday, it was just pristine. It was beautiful. If you get the chance to walk around Philadelphia at some point this weekend, maybe later on today, if you work in the city and you don't have an opportunity usually to go out and about, take a walk. Just take a walk. Just look how beautiful this city is. And yesterday it was pristine. So you want just the city itself stars in this week's Farzy in the Field. But I went out and asked people the very simple question: Ben Simmons, stay or go? And the vast majority of people, I don't think are going to surprise you. Maybe one person will. So we'll get into that when it does come time for that. But this is the latest on the Ben Simmons conversation. Adrian Wojnarowski was on ESPN yesterday, as he so often is, obviously. And he talked about what's going on right now between the 76ers and Ben Simmons' camp.
Ben Simmons' agent, Rich Paul of Clutch Sports, met with Sixers management yesterday in Chicago. Daryl Morey, their president, Elton Brand, their GM, to talk about Ben Simmons' future in Philly and whether that might necessitate a trade. Now, he did not ask for a trade. They're going to continue talking as this summer goes through. But right now, Philadelphia is committed to trying to figure this out with Ben Simmons. He met with Doc Rivers in Philly before they departed after the loss to Atlanta and talked about some ideas of how they can improve his foul shooting this summer, certainly his shooting. Philadelphia knows that if you were going to trade a player of Ben Simmons' caliber, you want to do it when he's at the apex of his trade value. He may not be at the very top of that after this postseason, but there is a lot of interest in Ben Simmons around the league. I think this conversation is going to move forward, but right now Philly is saying we still want to build around Embiid and Simmons.
I love the idea of giving it another go. I love the idea of not trading Ben Simmons. I love all that. But I only love it if I truly believe that Ben Simmons is going to develop his game to the next level, take his game to the next level. And I do not have a lot of confidence in that happening. So let's go over a couple of things with this this little report here from Woj, and it's Woj, so everybody believes it. I don't think that Ben Simmons wants to be traded, first and foremost. I don't think anyone really wants to be traded. I don't think Ben Simmons is like, oh, God, I really pissed off Philadelphia. I better get the hell out of here. They're going to eat me alive if I'm on the roster for opening day next year. Yeah, I don't think he is thinking that at all. I think Ben had a, oh, damn moment. I think that he's been shaken up a little bit by how embarrassing it is to be a guy that everyone looks at right now and goes, if Ben was just a little bit better, this team would probably be playing against the Bucks right now. If Ben maybe went up and dunked that ball, right, instead of being afraid of Danilo Gallinari's defense, then maybe we're playing the Bucks right now. I think a lot of people look at Ben and think that right now. And I don't think Ben looks at that and goes, oh, well, Philadelphia's giving up on me. I'm out of here. I think Ben is terrified. If you want to talk about somebody he's terrified of, whether it's shooting or foul shots, you know what he's terrified of? I think he's terrified of getting traded. I don't think he is banging down the drum. I don't think that that his camp is banging down the door right now for him to be traded. I think he wants to stay here in Philadelphia. I think he wants to win here in Philadelphia because Ben does think of himself as a star. Maybe not superstar, but a star. And stars often don't get traded when they're 24, 25 years old. Stars stay in one spot, then they get to about 26, 27, 28 years old, and it's like, you know what, maybe this wasn't for me. Maybe I need to go elsewhere and really have my team. But Ben doesn't think like that. Ben, first off, knows that he could stay here in Philadelphia and kind of still stay in the shadow a little bit, as I think he would prefer behind Joel Embiid and allow Joel Embiid to be that top star. Ben doesn't have to be a leader here because Tobias Harris is, and I know that name is mud to some people after this postseason, especially for this series, because he didn't have the best series either against the Hawks. But when it comes to veteran leadership, they look at a guy like Tobias Harris more so than they look at Joel Embiid or anybody else, Danny Green, even if he stays around here for another season or two. So Ben can kind of just be the guy that he wants to be for the vast majority of his time here in Philadelphia, which is the point forward, facilitator, distributor, defender. Doesn't have to really worry about scoring until now. I am hoping, and this is what I am, and I like to use the phrase that I'm rooting for, but I'm not betting on him. I'm rooting for Ben. I'm not betting on Ben. I'm rooting for him to come out of this a better player, to come out of this more motivated than ever. I'm rooting for him to come out as a much better basketball player next year. I'm rooting for it to happen, but I ain't betting on it. All right, when we looked at him play against the Boston Celtics his rookie year, he comes out and he has that infamous game where he scores 1 point. And you're thinking, Ben, you're better than that. This is going to motivate him. All the stuff we saw at LSU, all the things he did in college, right? The foul shooting. He doesn't need that. 3-pointers, he doesn't need that. He'll work on that in the pros. All that stuff, right? Doesn't shoot from the outside. He'll get it in the pros. Yeah, that didn't come. He didn't burst out of the gates with that the following season. He didn't burst out of that saying, I'm going to make myself a better basketball player. No, what did he do? He stayed in his little shell, right? He actually got worse as his career went on. And then it got to this point where it was just so glaringly obvious that he wasn't ready to be on the court in the crunch moments, crunch time situations late in fourth quarter. Yeah. I'm hoping that's the kick in the ass. I'm hoping, I'm rooting for, but I ain't betting on it. I'm not betting on it a little bit. So I do think the second part of this is that what else are the Sixers? What else is the Sixers going to leak out right now? If you're the Sixers, what are you going to tell Woj? Oh, God, yeah, we have to trade this guy. Hey, we're giving away for free, everybody. Like, what else are the Sixers going to do right now? And that's exactly what you want the Sixers to do right now. You don't want them to say, all right, come and get it, Ben Simmons, everybody. We're serving him up here. Give us a second-round pick for him. They're not going to say that. The Sixers are going to do everything they can to paint the picture that Ben is on the upswing right now. That, you should really see him working out. You should really, his abs glistening in the gymnasium fluorescent lights. Remember those? Look how amazing he is. That's what I think the Sixers are doing right now. They're simply just taking part in some gamesmanship. That's all. They're not going to say that they're going to be given away for free. We're committed. We're committed right now. And did you catch the right now from Woj? Right now, this is what the plan is. Well, that's great. That was then. Now we're in a whole different right now. So I honestly believe that Ben wants to be here. I think the Sixers are just positioning things right now for themselves to be in the best possible spot, which, again, is exactly what Daryl Morey's job is, to make sure that he and the 76ers are in the best spot to win, and whether that's with Ben Simmons or without. Right now, they're probably thinking, all right, let's see how Ben works out, all right, because they realize that $170 million is going to be really difficult to trade. I also think that the Sixers look at Ben Simmons and they see what I see. They see what Stephen A. Smith sees. They see what TJ McConnell, who just came out to our friend John Clark of NBC Sports Philadelphia regarding the work ethic of Ben Simmons, counteracting what Stephen A. Smith said about how he is going to work hard. TJ McConnell told John Clark, no. This guy's going to work hard this offseason like you've never seen him before, and he's going to prove a lot of people wrong because he's going to be more motivated than ever. Yeah, again, I hope that's the case. I'm rooting for that to be the case. But if somebody's telling me, hey, Mark, let's put $100 on it, I'm like, I don't think so. Like, that's my bigger issue. So right now, I think the Sixers are playing it perfectly, which is tight to the vest. Of course, we want our player. Of course, we want our number one overall pick. Of course, we want our 3-time All-Star to get better. But I think they honestly look at him and they see a guy that is very close to a legit MVP conversation. If Ben Simmons gets that 20 points per game, 22 points per game, and he could do that just by hitting foul shots. He could do that by hitting one more jump shot. Or excuse me, did I say one more? Stupid. One jump shot. He can do that. And by the way, here's the thing. People talk about, I'm just happy if he improves his free throw shooting. Well, yeah, because that'll at least keep him on the court and not be a liability completely in the fourth quarter. But still, I want him working up the moxie to be able to shoot a basketball or dunk a basketball. But when people look at that and they see Ben Simmons for what he is right now, do they see how much it would help the rest of his game and how much it would help the spacing for the 76ers on the floor late in games if Ben is a threat to shoot from the outside? And when I say the outside, I mean outside the paint. I don't mean outside the three-point line. But how much that would make a defender come up and guard him and open up more things down low for Joel Embiid, for Tobias Harris, for whoever is streaking to the rim. And also, by the way, for Ben Simmons to throw a little crossover on somebody and go to the rim himself, get the N1, go to the line and make it a three-point play. That sounds like a much better basketball player. Couple that with a guy who has already got the sixth place vote? Fourth place vote, excuse me, for MVP. Yeah, then you're talking about a really special player then. Not just a great defender, not just the good facilitator, and even that went out the door in the playoffs. Like, you're talking about a much better basketball player from a guy who's already made it to 3 All-Stars in his young career. That's what I'm rooting for. That's not what I'm betting on. So Sixers, continue to play this the way that you're playing it right now, which is as if, no, we're committed. We are committed to working this out and making him a better basketball player. Daryl Morey, keep on doing that. Elton Brand, who was there in the conversations also, keep doing that. And you know what? It's the way you have to play it right now. Hey, guess what? Those Philadelphia Phillies are starting a pretty big series with the New York Mets today. And it's actually this afternoon, if I'm not mistaken. Aaron Nola is on the hill for the Phillies today, and that scares the ever-loving hell out of me. I used to look up and down that roster and go, or up and down the schedule and go, hey, here we go. Phillies got Aaron Nola on the bump today. And this year it has been horrifying. It actually starts up a doubleheader today with Aaron Nola going up first. It's going to be a 3-game series here. And they got Aaron Nola on the hill today against Taijuan Walker. Bryce Harper challenged the team again to go out there and rattle off some wins. And really, there's no time like the present than when you're facing a team that you trail right now, I think by 9 games, 8.5 games from first place in the NL East. I didn't expect the Mets to be this good this fast. But, wow, they have really turned some heads. Pete Alonso is putting together another good year for himself. Jacob deGrom is putting together a nice little year for himself again. I mean, really, they have just been able to go out there and be a lot better than what I expected. Meanwhile, the Phillies, on the other hand, are not nearly as good as I really expected. I expected them to be at least 6 games better than what they're at right now. At least 6 games better than what they're at right now, which is be a team that would hover around 500 and over 500 by a couple of games until maybe they found their way and then they would start to take off. This doesn't look like a team that will take off because when your bullpen is struggling and you don't have a closer and you continue to have the same problems that you've had for the last, 133 years, with the exception of the bridge to Lidge in 2008, then, pretty much you're not going to win a lot of baseball games. It's a huge series today. Hopefully they get started right. 4:10 with Aaron Nola on the hill. We'll cross our fingers for that he starts to look like an ace that we haven't really seen him look like in quite some time. And hopefully that'll get the Phillies started off on the right foot. Coming up, we got Jack McCaffery from Delco Times. We also have a Farzy the Field later in the show. We're going to do our social media check-in with our comment section here on YouTube. And then we'll also give you our Morning Rush brought to you by Sky Motor Cars, as well as our Big Bets segment. So we will get involved in all things sports, as we so usually do. But right now, let me tell you about Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. You know what? When you meet the person you love and you want to spend the rest of your life with them, that's a beautiful thing, right? That's a great thing. You know what's not a great thing? Feeling pressure to go out there to buy that perfect engagement ring. Feeling like you have to work on your negotiating skills when you go buy that ring, right? You have to feel like you have to look at every piece of inventory all over the place. But you know what? Why not do that with the guy that makes it easier than anybody? Takes away all the excuses. Oh, I can't go for a ring yet. It's too hard. It's too expensive. Whatever. Guess what? Go to Steven Singer Jewelers, and all the excuses go out the window, because that's why people say, I hate Steven Singer. He made it too easy to get engaged. He takes away all the excuses. Oh, no, I can't do it yet. No. Nah. Steven Singer, perfect price every single day. Great inventory, real jewelry experts walking through everything, and you feel like a king when you walk into that store. Steven Singer is Steven Singer Jewelers, man. You got to check him out. That's why people say, I hate Steven Singer, because he makes it so damn easy. I hate Steven Singer, a Philly jeweler that has been making it too easy to buy real diamonds for over 4 decades. He specializes in diamond engagement rings and has a staff of real jewelry experts, real jewelers, real people that are standing by ready to help you pick out the perfect ring or gift at the perfect price. No call center, no sales, no haggling, no codes, no discounts, just the best possible price, guaranteeing the best value every single day. Check out Steven Singer Jewelers at the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right in Philadelphia, or online at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. Without further ado, let's jump on the Zatos Investments guest line and talk to. Here's a little. I need to back this up. I just want to. Here's how I know Jack McCaffery. About I was in college, so a million years ago, I was a student writer at Temple University, writing for the Temple column, right? And the Temple just beat. I want to say it was Florida A&M. And I think the Owls only won 2 games my senior year, maybe 3 if I'm being cocky. And I was driving home after the game, and Jack McCaffery and Mike Kern were on WIP. And they were talking about the Temple win. And they had a question. And they weren't sure, and they were kicking it back and forth. And here I am, this little student writer, all full of piss and vinegar, as I like to say. And I forget what the subject exactly was, but they were talking about the game. They were confused about one particular thing. And I was like, you know what? I'll call up. I wasn't really a big caller. I didn't call a lot, but I was like, let me give him a call. I maybe called 3 or 4 times in my life. And I call up. I get on with him. And I was like, hey, guys, here to talk. And it was literally like in that segment I got on. So it was rather quick. Maybe they saw Temple and they just put it up. So I go, hey, the thing you were talking about was Walter Washington threw it for 10 yards, touchdown. And anyway, love the show, guys. And then they were like, hey, so Temple, is that a lot of fun for the football and all that stuff? And I'm like, yeah, I guess it's coming along, right? Bobby Wallace was the head coach at the time. I'm like, yeah, it's this, that, and the other. And I might have sounded too chipper with the way I answered the question. And Jack goes, yeah, that's great. Hey, no cheering in the press box, son. Click. And hung up on me. Just like that. I was like, what the hell? Screw you, Jack McCaffery. And then, and I swore I'd never listen to the man again. Then I, of course, I entered the professional ranks of media. And I meet Jack McCaffery for the first time, and I'm like, oh, that son of a hung up on me. And then he ended up being like the nicest guy in the world, and I love the guy. And we ended up hosting some events together. We're both very much into boxing. And anyway, that's my backstory with Jack McCaffery. So without further ado, joining us on the Zatos Investments guest line from Delco Times, my good friend, Jack McCaffery. And joining us now on the Zatos Investments guest line from the Delco Times, a good friend, Mr. Jack McCaffery's back on the show. What's up there, Jack?
Great to be here, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. We were spitballing some maybe career ideas here. Maybe as a little side hustle. I like your idea. Maybe go back into ring announcing and boxing. That Michael Buffer, as you like to say, he makes himself some money.
You were good at it. I said do it. He's perfect.
To fill
he's getting up there, isn't he?
Yeah, you did. Yeah. You know what? When's he going to retire? What the hell?
Yeah. Get in line.
For those that don't know, Jack is a phenomenal ringside announcer. Does great play-by-play in boxing. A referee, a little bit. You dabble in refereeing as well.
In that.
Yeah. You're a man for all seasons, my friend.
I enjoy it. I haven't done it in a while. I always said I was the smartest guy in the ring. I was the only one not getting hit.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And the ring announcer guy, at least he has the sense to be like, all right, I'm just going to get the hell out of here.
Before they even start throwing the punches.
Exactly. Yeah. Jack, I saw your article today on Delaware County Times, and I loved it because I always enjoy just a different perspective. And it hasn't even crossed my mind to think about trading Joel Embiid. But I do get it. I know a lot of people out there right now, and I know that there's betting odds out there that you highlight in the piece. And here it is for anyone that wants to see it. Joel Embiid, here it is with the 76ers. Time right for Daryl Morey to explore value in trading Joel Embiid. Now, let me ask you this out of the gate, Jack.
Yeah.
If you had to trade one or the other, Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid, which one would you trade?
I would trade Ben Simmons like 3 days ago. I would have traded him. Yes, there's no doubt about that. But that pairing cannot continue any longer. That they've gone far enough with that. So the direct answer to your question is Ben Simmons. Yes, trade Ben Simmons. No doubt about that.
Now, is the only reason that you would trade or at least entertain the idea of trading Joel Embiid is because you believe his clock is ticking faster?
His clock is definitely ticking faster. When's he ever going to be better than he is right now? This was it. And you're talking about the guy, you're talking to me 3 years ago. I labeled him as the best player, skill for skill, the Sixers have ever had. So don't get me wrong. I love the guy as a player. He can block a shot at one end and dunk it at the other. And he's a pretty good teammate. He connects with the community. Nobody here is looking to run Joel Embiid out of town. But you've seen him in too many playoffs at this point, especially in the last playoffs. What happens in the fourth quarter? He misses shots. He dribbles it off his knee. He falls to the ground. He complains to the refs. He wants to get him. It's not going to change. It cost Brett Brown a job going to him so many times in the last second shot. And he's not getting any younger. But if they have to give him that super max extension contract for $191 million, he'll be well into his 30s. You have to, as I said in the column, you better darn think about doing that before you tie up your organization even more. They made the mistake with Tobias Harris. They made the mistake on Simmons. What are you going to do? Tie this guy up for that kind of money when he's always injured? And I'm not wishing him ill. But the facts are facts. He's always injured. He's never played more than 64 games in a season. As we sit here, he probably is going to need minor knee surgery. Then you factor in what did we hear this week. That's kind of why I went to it. I said, because what we do, I talked to you before. What we do for a living is listen. Do this for many years. Listen, and then try to piece together what you're hearing. Mm-hmm. Pretty much simultaneous to Doc Rivers deciding one day after deciding that he wasn't sure about Ben Simmons. One day later, oh, yeah, we're sure about it. We're going to get him on a different level. We're going to practice foul shooting. We're going to this and this. I'm telling you, Mark, I think it was the exact same moment the odds dropped that on Embiid's next team if traded. Now, where did that – when I saw that, I said, where in the heck? Who? Why? Well – Las Vegas doesn't do things just on. Well, I guess they do because you can get a bet on what kind of Gatorade is going to get poured on the Super Bowl coach. But for the most part, there was something there. Portland at 2-1, and also Daryl Morey just saying every time the people on the Zoom call this week were asking about Simmons' future, he kept saying, "I'm not talking necessarily about Simmons." Of course, I'm paraphrasing. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about Simmons. but you never know what's going to happen. You can't predict the future. So I just threw all of those three things together, four things: Joel Embiid's injury history, the Supermax coming up soon, the fact that he's been here 7 years and they can't get past the second round anyway. Morey and Rivers are new to this thing. Las Vegas is dropping odds on the idea of him playing somewhere else. There was enough there to at least say, okay. And one thing I've always done as a columnist and a talk show host and everything else, I always say for value. I'm not giving them away for the guy down the street. Right. You want to make me a deal for Joel Embiid, I'm listening. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I do appreciate in the article you literally write who, what, where, when, how. Like when you saw the news, I laughed out loud when I read that because I was literally doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And then you highlight in the article as well that it's not going to happen because you know that the city of Philadelphia would burn. Like the fan base would be so pissed off.
They would, and I mentioned that in context of if they chose Embiid or if they chose Simmons over Embiid. I suppose if they traded them both and did a complete rebuilding, that might be different. But if they decided that Embiid was to blame for this and keep Simmons, it's not going to happen. Mark, they're going to get rid of Ben Simmons. They have to know better than to think that they can bring him back into this fan base at this point in his career. It would be marketing disaster to do that. And not a great basketball move, by the way, either. So
understood. Now, let me just ask you this. So what are you willing to give up Ben Simmons for? Is it the classic, basketball ball rack, or is it Dame Lillard, CJ McCollum, somebody like that to come in here and be a scorer?
Perfect. It would be value for value. Somebody is going to find value in Ben Simmons. He's young enough. He's been an all-star. He does some good things. A change of scenery could help. He's got great vision. Does Portland want to go McCollum in some kind of way? McCollum and some draft picks, and then he gets out. They get to keep Damian Lillard, and Simmons comes down and distributes him the ball in great spots. They could win games, something like that. No, I'm not giving him away for a bag of. I'm not giving him away just in order to clear cap space or trust the process or rebuild. Value for value. I mean, you might have to give up a little bit because the contract on Simmons is so bad, considering how much he doesn't shoot. But I'd like to get something in return. CJ McCollum would be perfect.
You mentioned the All-Star and all that, and Jack, you know where I'm going to go with this, and I hate the fact that I think the last couple times we've talked, I've gone here, but I think of you every single time this comes up about whether or not the Sixers did baby him too much, whether or not they did coddle him too much, because you were the one, 2 years ago now, that said, well, what about the jump shot? What about shooting from the outside? What about just developing that part of your game a little bit? And Ben was like, well, I'm an all-star. So, as if to say, when you ask the question, Jack, he's like, why do I need to do that? I'm an all-star. My game's perfect. And I think of you every single time I look at a shot chart from Ben Simmons, and everything's right in there in the paint with no threes.
It's kind of mysterious that he's an all-star, but that's a matter of taste, I suppose. Some people think he belongs on the all-star team, and therefore he gets there. He's not out of so far removed. It's not like they said Shake Milton's an all-star. You can see it, right?
Right.
It's not my cup of tea. Some people might think is, but the fact that he would imply that is the culmination of his career. I made the all-star team, therefore, I don't have to get any better. How about championships? How about playoff victories? How about every time you play in the playoffs, the other team backs off you like so far? I mean, the Hawks were playing at the Navy Yard. That's where they were playing off of him. That's how far south they were on that guy. And so if you think that you can't improve, there's something that has to change somewhere else. Mm-hmm. We saw it even at LSU. He was just satisfied to have a bad team at LSU. Eventually, the year after, I believe the coach got fired. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that.
I think you're right.
And they decided that it was too inconvenient for them to even go to the NIT, which I believe I might be one of the last. And people believe this. I believe that's a pretty honorable tournament. It's a good tournament with good teams. Too inconvenient to do that. At that point, you said to yourself, "Be careful with this guy."
Yeah. Well, I say many times, you never want to see a guy that you're about to take a number one overall. You never want to see that guy look disinterested or approach the game half-heartedly. And that's certainly what he did while he was at LSU. You always want to know that guy, no matter what, if there's an opportunity to compete, he's going to go out there and compete.
Right. Go win the NIT.
Go win the NIT. And speaking of this, I showed my audience this the other day. This is Ben Simmons' shot chart from his 40-point-plus game that he had against, I believe it was North Florida, the North Florida Ospreys, something like that. Whatever it is. But everything, again, right there in the lane. Literally every bucket is from inside the paint or just outside that little semicircle there. Like, the game hasn't evolved even a little bit. Now, I want to ask you this because you've banged this drum as I have in terms of developing that with Ben Simmons. Agree or disagree? I think if he develops that foul shot, and my audience is probably sick of me hearing this, but I think if he develops that foul shot and he becomes a consistent mid-range shooter, occasional three-pointer, we're talking about a guy that is a legit MVP candidate. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I would say that that's a little bit extreme, considering the talented of players that are in that conversation. Jokic, Doncic, Embiid, Steph Curry, LeBron. But yeah, and the foul shooting would definitely help. And I'll be going to be honest, we saw some improvement. He was a better foul shooter each year. I mean, I could stand to be corrected on that, but each year,
like 1% up every year. Yeah,
was better. And there was one point there. It was last year, I believe, where he was really hot from the foul line for a number of games, and we, myself included, were writing about it, saying, "Well, it looks like it's starting to turn around, as well as should." And then it kind of flattened again this year, and by the playoffs, it was in the Atlanta series. It was just impossible. He couldn't make a foul shot, more than 30 or 40%, and it cost the Sixers, and it cost him. And eventually, I believe, going to have him playing for somebody else next year.
Do you believe the reports that are out there right now from Adrian Wojnarowski saying that Ben Simmons wasn't asking for his trade, that his camp wasn't asking for his trade? They're talking about the two sides being committed to one another and building together again, and Ben Simmons working his tail off this summer to make sure he comes back in the gym come fall to make sure everything's happening?
Believe the report? Sure.
Yeah.
Believe that he's actually going to do it? That's two different things, because we've heard it before. He's going to be this. He's going to take 1,000 shots. He's going to work on his game. He's going to skip the Olympics and concentrate on becoming a better player. Obviously, I'm not going to dispute what Woj said. If that's what he reported, he can stand by that, and I'm not going to sit here and object to it. But there's two different things: being committed to something and then actually living through on that commitment. And I'll believe that when I see it.
I want to switch gears with you, Jack, because I know what a man for all seasons you are. I mentioned the boxing. I got to go over to baseball a little bit, talk a little Phillies with you. I kind of thought Joe Girardi would be better than this. And I know it's not exactly the best team in the world. I know the bullpen's still shaky as all hell. But there hasn't really been a big turnaround with the Phillies just yet. Is this what we're to expect for the rest of the year, a team that's going to hover around 500, or do they have a better run in them?
Unless Dombrowski makes changes, and that is his reputation and that's his history. But yeah, with the team that he's got right now Gregorius and Segura would help if they could get healthy. But other than that, I couldn't agree with you more, Mark. I can't be any more disappointed with Joe Girardi. Just awful. I'm trying to figure out what Hector Neris would have to do to lose a job at this point. And I wrote a column in the Daily Times, and I don't have it in front of me, but I listed all the general managers, assistant general managers, pitching coaches, managers that have lost their job in that organization, waiting for Hector Neris to become a reliable closer. There's quite a number. The thing is that you're going to pay Joe Girardi $8 million a year to come in here, and he's going to decide, yeah, that's my guy there. Okay, so you made a mistake. It's night after night after night. Neris is killing this team, and I'm going to assume that Hector's giving it the best he's got. It's up to the manager to identify, we cannot win with this guy. Second to that is that I've seen a lot of Phillies teams, good ones and bad ones. This is the worst baseball team I've ever seen them have in terms of base running, defense, pitch selection, approach at the plate. It's embarrassing. It's awful. And the manager's got a lot to answer for that. He's talking about, they had a chance. We all know what last year was. It was a different kind of season. Okay, sure. Somebody won the World Series. The Phillies lost 7 of their last 8 to miss a playoff spot. That went under the table. That went under the rug, sort of, okay, it was that kind of year, so we're going to look the other way. I guess myself included to some point. You had a bad streak at the 60 game mark. It was a different kind of year, but you hope for better this year. And I just don't see the players giving it their all. I don't see them concentrating. I see them getting picked off of the base pass when they're going in for be a pinch runner. You get 2 strikes on a Phillies hitter, you might as well just go to the snack bar because he's going to get the strike, right? He's going. It's a horrible plate approach, and his use of the ball. He came into Philadelphia with a reputation as a guy who can really handle a bullpen. If you just pulled ping pong balls out of the lottery machine, you could do better than guess what he. I don't know what he sees in David Hale, and I just don't know what he sees in Hector Neris as a closer. So It's been like you said. I'll quote you. I expected better from Joe Girardi, and
certainly
we were all in favor of him, and myself included.
Ditto. Same here. And I mean, as much as I love a nice helmet of nachos, you could buy that now in the stands. A whole helmet of nachos. Are you aware of this?
Okay. That was not like a real size batting helmet.
Well, like the one you would get like a kid for his birthday or something. Like one of them plastic helmets, not a little ice cream one, my friend. No. Like a nice, like it would fit on my head. They sell all full of nachos.
All right. Next time we're at the ballpark, we'll share one.
Yes, that's just me and Jack McCaffery just picking nachos out of the helmet. Now, so when they get to the 2 strike counts, that's where I'm going, just so you know where to find me.
Yeah, and you finish them all off before the next guy gets a hit.
Exactly. Jack McCaffery, Delco Times. Make sure you check him out. Here's the article, most recent. It's on there right now. I've retweeted it so you guys can check it out as well. Jack McCaffery, Delco Times, writing about the 76ers, Phillies, and covers everything for the Delco Times. Jack McCaffery, thanks so much for joining us here on the Zatos Investments guest line.
My pleasure, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Jack McCaffery, Delco Times, ladies and gentlemen. Always good checking in with the great Jack McCaffery of the Delco Times. Wow, you guys were unforgiving on that camera. Great. I love, you guys know I love our comments. Love you guys. I'm surprised. Let's see. We got Windows 95. We had some other fine comments. I'm surprised nobody went hostage video. It had kind of that quality of like, Jack, are they feeding you well? Blink twice. Anyway, my name's Jack McCaffery. It is an interesting thing. The article that he did write, I do recommend reading it. Just because, again, a lot of people are thinking over here with Ben Simmons, and this is where they're thinking. Let's not mix up. But Jack then takes the tea leaves and goes, oh, let me interpret what could be going on here, especially if people are talking about betting Joel Embiid to end up elsewhere. Now, that would end up with the city of Philadelphia revolting after the guy just played for you on a leg and a half, I guess, with the meniscus tear for Joel Embiid. And the other guy, Ben Simmons, if he stuck around here and he moved on from Joel Embiid, the guy that did not dunk the ball at the end of the game, then I think the people would revolt. So, yeah, that's why I also wanted Jack to get that out of the way right out of the gate. That if he was making the call, who would he trade first? And obviously it would be Ben Simmons. So there you go. Coming up, we're going to hear from some more people with our Farzy in the field this week as to what they would do with Ben Simmons. There's a couple of things that you're going to love about that. One, I think most people are ready to move on. 2, Philadelphia looks beautiful. And 3, for whatever reason, I think it was because it was beautiful weather. I think this is the most women I've interviewed for Farzy in the field for one bit since we've been doing it on this show for the last couple of months. So there's that. But right now, let me tell you about DraftKings, the DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. I love using DraftKings. It's a blast, absolute blast. DraftKings is putting you courtside right now with a chance to turn $1 into $100 in-site credits. So here's what you do. Go on the phone, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use promo code Farzy. That's promo code Farzy. And guess what's going to happen? You're going to have yourself some fun. You're going to win yourself some money, especially with this. DraftKings, like I said, putting you courtside. You pick a basketball team that's still in contention to win. You bet $1 on them. If they win, boom, you get $100 in site credits. It's just that simple. Don't forget, DraftKings Sportsbook also offers great odds and promotions on baseball and hockey and so much more. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code Farzy. That's promo code Farzy when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 in free site credits. Bet on the basketball team of your choice to win their next game, and if they do, you get $100 in site credits. That's promo code Farzy for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, present in Pennsylvania, new customers only, wager paid out in site credits, restrictions apply in partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And how about steak in Maine? You saw all the cannoli that are going to be down there at Rim Cafe. Well, my man Tony Cavada is a big part of that. He's going to be down there with Renee, the Godfather, as he's referred to, and they're going to be a part of that on October 10th, so make sure you mark your calendars. 1,000 cannoli. Might even be 10,000. I don't know. I just thought it would be a hell of a lot of cannoli. So you got to go down there and mangiare a little bit, all right? Steak in Maine, fine dining in the heart of Northeast Maryland. My man Tony Cavada hooks it up. Whether you dine at a more upscale steakhouse or casual bar and patio, you'll enjoy highest quality of prime meats, fresh seafood, world-class oyster bar, and freshly prepared sushi. Literally, you go in there, you walk into a bar, basically, and you're like, oh, this looks like a fun place. And they got a little sushi bar over there. Then they got a nice little dining area. And then they have like an actual steakhouse dining hall for you. And here's what I love. In the back of Steak in Maine, they have this ginormous table that sits like 8 or 12 people. And you sit down, and then it's like if somebody over there ordered something that you wanted to try, or you got the family style, John, going on, right? You rotate the table. You literally shimmy the table. And the next thing you know, the mac and cheese or the 2-pound tomahawk steak, delicious, is right at your beck and call with a little right there. I think that was a pretty good sound effect. I surprised myself with that one. Anyway, make sure you take part in all the things that Steak and Maine has to offer, including Cavada Cellars wines. I enjoy the Pinot Noir, by the way, with a nice steak. Open every day for lunch, dinner, or Sunday brunch. Anyone a wine person that can tell me if that's the proper pairing, a Pinot Noir? I know technically it's supposed to be like red wine with a meat, white wine with a fish, right? Anyway, that's about as far as I go. Open every day for lunch, dinner, or Sunday brunch. Steak in Maine in the heart of Northeast Maryland. Voted number one place for steaks in America by the Travel Channel and the Cooking Channel. Check it out for yourself at steakandmaine.com. Also want to tell you about our friends at PHLSportsNation.com. Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience by covering your teams across blogs and social media. That's PHLSportsNation.com. And how about FanUp? Had a couple of bets. My friend Natalie Eganoff, right? And the Lipstick League and all that. They were hitting me up with some challenges on FanUp, and you can too. Download the FanUp app in the App Store and just use promo code FanUp. That's promo code FanUp and get 2,000 bonus points right out of the gate just to start having your fun with. You can rise on their leaderboard by answering fun questions, enter their weekly and daily contest, and you can win great brand prizes. I've told you about the Jordans you could win. I told you about the Louis Vuitton bag you could have won, the Peloton bike, the mirror guy that shows up and he's in the mirror and he's like, hey, all right, let's work out. And you're like, I'm not really feeling it. But he's like, no, you got to work out. And then you work out so that you can do that. And you can win all that stuff with FanUp and the FanUp app. Just be fans. All right. Now it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for one of my favorite parts of the show, the social media check-in. Social media check-in brought to you by Steak and Maine at steakandmaine.com. First off, I am just skimming this. We got some new people on here. Julian, welcome into the show, Julian. I appreciate you jumping on here. Dan Schwartz, good morning to you. Mally, Mac, everybody, our regulars. Dante, what's popping? Okay, Dante says he thinks that Ben Simmons thinks that Ben Simmons is a superstar. If Ben Simmons, and you could be right, but if Ben Simmons thinks he's a superstar right now, then that's dumb. Because you're a superstar, like, first off, a superstar is somebody that you could count on, like, all the time. Whether he delivers or not, he's the guy that you're going to. And this team, I believe, has one superstar in the making, and that's Joel Embiid. That's it. There's nobody else. Tyrese Maxey. No. But Joel Embiid is that guy. But until Joel Embiid wins in the playoffs, plays consistently enough, he's not going to be that superstar. A runner-up as an MVP does not qualify him as a superstar. Is he one of the best players in the league? Absolutely. Is he, I thought, the MVP of this league? Absolutely. Was he the best player I watched play throughout this year? No question about it. The NBA didn't see it that way, unfortunately. However, Joel Embiid starts winning in the playoffs. Joel Embiid gets to a championship. Joel Embiid wins a championship. Then we'll start having that conversation. But until then, this team is only going to go as far as Joel Embiid is going to take them. And this team is not going to go any further than that until Ben Simmons becomes a better scorer. I mean, let's look at all these teams in the playoffs right now. Let's look at Devin Booker, right? Let's look at Chris Paul coming back as a point guard for that team. Let's look at Paul George. Let's look at Trae Young, right? These teams are led by shooters, scorers. These teams aren't led by defensive stalwarts, right? They're not led by guys that are the Ministry of Defense or anything like that. No, they're led by scorers. They're led by perimeter players that can knock down shots from anywhere on the court pretty much. That's who's leading this team. And look at the Suns. The last two games that they struggled. Now, they won one, lost the other. They lost last night. Devin Booker struggled mightily in those games. One, he broke his nose. The other, last night, he was playing with a face shield, and he shot a terrible amount. And we'll tell you a little bit more about that in our morning rush. But they're all led by guys that are perimeter players that knock down shots. Until Ben Simmons is some semblance of that, meaning he'll shoot it all, or hit a jump shot, or hit a foul shot. Until he's that, I think he realizes he's not a superstar, and I think he realizes a superstar doesn't shy away from the moment like he did in this series against the Hawks. So I hope he doesn't think he's a superstar, Dante. But I appreciate what you're saying there. Once again, Julian, welcome in. Dan Schwartz. It's been terrifying if the Sixers were serious. I think the Sixers are just playing everything close to the vest right now by saying that they're not going to trade Ben Simmons. Well, it's saying that they're committed to Ben Simmons. And right now, they are. But guess what? Right now, which yesterday was the 24th of June, right now, that didn't matter. The only thing that matters is what happens in the next couple of weeks. The only thing that matters is what happens in the going up to the season. Because, again, the thing Woj keeps harping on that he said in both of his reports since really talking about Ben Simmons is that it doesn't make sense to trade him now. The only thing that would make sense, and this is me speaking now, the only thing that would make sense if Ben Simmons is like, trade me now. I don't want to be here. And he's not. Because Ben knows how embarrassing. I will say this. I don't think he thinks of himself as a superstar, but I think he thinks of himself as a superstar in the making. And those guys don't get traded. Like the rare occasion is like James Harden getting traded from Oklahoma City to go to the Rockets. And he was young enough in his career where it was the big three there, but it was still kind of the big three in development. And he wasn't really the guy there with Russell and obviously KD. So he wanted his own show. I don't think Ben Simmons wants his own show. I don't think Ben Simmons wants that at all. I think he wants to have other guys on his team that he can constantly rely on. But I think he realizes now that it's only going to go as far as Joel Embiid is willing to take him, as long as this is the version of Ben Simmons that we're going to be seeing for the vast majority of his career. Move on with some more comments here. Julian, I appreciate you. Very nice of you to say you're listening to me on the radio. That's awesome, man. Thank you. Mac is welcoming Julian. Attaboy. We're a fun bunch. We're a fun bunch here. Ben is a bigger Rajon Rondo. Not a superstar. That's kind of what we got. Yeah, that's what did we get to? We got. I think the other day on the show I called. Oh no, it was on our Instagram page. I was going back and forth with somebody. Where like, who is Ben Simmons? And I was like, he's tall, Iggy. He's a better defending. Evan Turner was another one that we threw at him. Eric Snow. Somebody threw Eric Snow at me, and I went, it's not far off, but Eric Snow. I always go back to this. For the longest time, every point guard had to have that little 10-foot jumper, even like just the defensive point guards like Eric Snow. You had to have that consistent 10-foot jumper, and Eric Snow had that jumper. That was pretty much it. And good defense. That was it. That was pretty much it. Mally, what's up, my man? Pots and Pans. Don Vito, what did left go? Did he call you guys the Farzies? Farzi's Army or something? I don't remember. But anyway, hey, you guys are just my friends. That's what we are. Isn't that nice? Dan's checking in. Mark, fearless leader. Dan, you're hilarious. Kevin Smith, Jack needs a newer camera. They've come out with better cameras since 2006. Now we're getting to the comments of the camera. Old school webcam, Windows 95. Dan Schwartz, good hustle. A lot of good stuff in here. You guys are the best. Wait, hold on a second. Are we talking about healthcare now? What the hell are we talking about here? Oh, Mally works at Penn. Oh, you're talking about getting into Penn. Okay, gotcha now. Yeah. I don't remember. Honestly, Kevin just shouted out his grade point average. Apparently, Penn doesn't like people with a 2.8 GPA. Yeah, can second that. I think I was a 2.8 student overall at Temple. I would think I was a 3.2 in my major, but I think I was like a 2.8 or something and everything else. I was a good student in that I was pretty much well behaved, but I wasn't a good student as in like, hey, good grades. Yeah, it wasn't for me. Benny's asking, okay, all right, this is a good question for the kids out there. Reporter and columnist, what's the difference? A reporter reports the news, a game story, sums up a press conference, whatever it might be. A columnist offers opinion. The column has an opinion in it. That's the difference between the two. Now, often a reporter, how it works usually is a reporter graduates to columnist. Like that's the promotion. But a columnist can go back to the reporting ranks at times. That's generally speaking, that's how it goes. Charles checking in saying that he would trade Ben Simmons for a bag of peanuts. I do enjoy peanuts, but I will still keep Ben Simmons. And that's a compliment. What else do we got? Oh, Pete, I didn't watch yesterday. I listened and felt deprived. I didn't get to see the twerk. Well, Pete, you've come to the right place. Yeah, it's a classy show. It was a violin to twerking to a violin. So there you go. Appreciate everybody checking out here in the Mark. No Phillies. Yeah, they got a doubleheader today. They got a 4-game set, I believe it's going to end up being. So that's a good time. So enjoy that over the weekend. My thanks to everyone that checked in here on our whatever we go to the social media check-in brought to you by steakandmade.com. Miss Scoozy. Without further ado, that's some people we heard from right there in our comment section. Shout out to all y'all. Now, let's hit the streets of Philadelphia, ladies and gentlemen, for this week's Farzy in the Field, where we just asked the question, Ben Simmons, stay or go? Simple question, Ben Simmons, stay or go?
Go.
He's got to go.
Should I stay or should I go? Ben is gone.
All right, here at City Hall, I made some new friends here. We'll just call them the bench ladies. Hi, bench ladies.
Hello.
Okay, perfect. All right, now you guys are all big basketball fans, correct?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. All right. So here's my question for today. Ben Simmons, stay or go?
I'm going to say go.
Go.
Go. Go.
It's unanimous. The bench ladies want Ben Simmons on the bench somewhere else. What would you like to see the Sixers get back for Ben?
Somebody who is not afraid to at least look at the basket as he's bringing the ball up the court.
It's not personal, Ben. It's not. You just got to go. We love you, but it's not personal.
Yeah, I kind of feel like you almost feel guilty about even saying it. Why is that?
Very guilty. Just because he's so good looking.
You ain't trying hard enough. You ain't doing what you're supposed to do. You ain't going to the board. You ain't shooting. You ain't trying. That's it.
Answer, very simple today. Ben Simmons, stay or go?
I'd say stay.
Stay. Okay, yeah. You're actually, believe it or not, been talking to people for an hour. You're my first stay. Why stay?
Defensively, he's great. I don't blame him for why we lost. I mean, I wish he could. His offensive game is struggling, obviously, but he's not the top of my list of the issues.
If you want him to stay, are you confident he will develop that shooting aspect of his game, whether a mid-range game or foul shot?
No, I'm not confident at all. No.
I knew all y'all gonna be thirsty for the bench ladies. let me just here's my world for a second. The one thing, because I do love interacting with people, and especially on a beautiful day like that. How gorgeous did Philadelphia look? After all we've been through in this city over the last year, right? How beautiful did Philadelphia look, right? So one of the things I don't like about doing Farzy in the Field, the only thing I really don't like about doing Farzy in the Field is that, people are in the middle of their day, or people are doing something. I'm like, hey, can I bother the hell out of you for a second? And sure, sometimes people are excited. Oh, they're going to be on camera, whatever. And that, oh, cool. What can I do? But like those 3 bench ladies, for instance, right? They're just sitting there enjoying the hell out of their smoothies, right? And then here comes this dude, and hey, can I talk to you for a minute? They just look so picturesque. And what helps the most is that if somebody sees you interviewing somebody else, then they know that you're not trying to sell them something. You're just doing a show. So it's like, hey, can I talk to you for a second? And they saw me interviewing one of the girls, the lady that said that Ben Simmons was so damn gorgeous, whatever. They're like, oh, that's funny. And I was like, oh, can I talk to you guys? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, this is perfect. My audience will love this. Just, you guys are great. And they were a lot of fun. And they were basketball fans. And they're like, yeah, Ben's got to shoot. Ben's got to do this. Ben's got to do that. And I'm like, all right, let's party. Here we go. And I just knew all y'all would really enjoy that. A good-looking, creepy dude? Matt, what's happening? Nothing like a creepy dude approaching them with a cell phone camera. You know what's funny? I'm glad you picked up on that because some people think I have like a big fancy crew, and that ain't happening. I like taking people into the streets with Farzy in the field. Don't need the Pat Sajak looking dude. He was a nice fella. I didn't catch Pat Sajak vibes, though. Anyway, that was Farzy in the field, brought to you by our great friends there at FanUp and the FanUp app. Make sure you download the FanUp app and start having yourself some fun. I picked up. You're a creepy dude? Oh. Matt, see, I know that it's unavoidable sometimes. It's just going to be really creepy. I try to be less creepy as possible. You know what's the best way to not be creepy? When someone when I go up to somebody that's like wearing an Eagles shirt or a Phillies hat or a Sixers hat, whatever, and I say to them like, hey, how you doing? I do this show and I'm interviewing people on this subject, and then people go, no. The second I see hesitation, I go, it's good, no worries, see you later, have a great day. That's it. There's no like, come on, talk to me. I think the minute you do that, people are like, where's this guy's windowless van that has black and white photos of me? You know, that kind of thing. Because that's creepy. Anyway, thanks to everyone that talked to me yesterday. Had a blast going around Philadelphia with everybody. Let's get to our morning rush, brought to you by Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com. Of course, Clippers beat the Suns last night, 106-92. Chris Paul, 5 for 19 in his return to the Staples Center after being in COVID protocol. Devin Booker, 5 for 21. I mentioned their shots were horribly off yesterday. Horribly off. Paul George had 27 points. Reggie Jackson was I think the hero of the game. 10 points in the fourth quarter, hit a couple of big threes that really helped separate them from the Suns and really iced the game. Reggie Jackson was great in that. Like I said, 10 fourth quarter points, 23 points overall in the game. Bucks and Hawks tonight, game 2 in Milwaukee, which in case you don't know is Algonquin for the good land. 8:30 tip-off tonight, Bucks and Hawks. We'll see if the Bucks have something special for Trae Young tonight. Because here's what I've noticed. The more Trae Young pisses you the hell off, the better Trae Young is. And I think that's something we learned here in Philadelphia. I really don't like Trae Young. And what really sucks about not liking Trae Young is I think I'm realizing that I like Trae Young. That's the worst part. That's the worst part. And I've said all along that I think the Bucks are a bunch of frauds anyway. So I'm actually hoping that that Hawks team actually knocks them off. What else did I want to get to today? Oh yeah, we got the Phillies. I mentioned they got the 4-game series. You got Aaron Nola on the hill tonight. This afternoon at 4:10. Nola against Walker, and then you have Matt Moore. God, help us all against Peterson at 7:40 start time. It'll be 4 games. The next 4 games for the Phillies. 2 today, Saturday, Sunday. You got at the New York Mets, at Citi Field. 3 of those 4 games are day games. Zach Wheeler gets the start in game 4 on Sunday. So that's what you got. That's what you got going on there. What else? I got to get this story in here. This is wild. This actually happened last week, and I just never got to it. I didn't know how to work it in, but I feel like on this fine Friday, it's the perfect time to do it. I guess I'm a YouTuber now, right? I mean, I'm across all social media platforms except Parler and OnlyFans. All right, sorry, people. Well, OnlyFans not yet. You know what I'm saying? But I guess with the YouTube show, I guess I'm a YouTuber. But I think of YouTubers mainly as people that like do unboxing, like look at this toy, whatever, or video games or gamers, stuff like that. But I guess I'm a YouTuber. So fellow YouTuber Tanaka Natsuki. Have you seen this story? She was filming a fishing video. She was filming a fishing video. And all of a sudden, a body came down the river right past her boat. His boat, her boat, and it went right past the boat. And They went, oh my God, a body. And it was like a woman's body. Next thing you know, ambulances are pulling up on the bank of the river. There's a helicopter over top. There's a guy throwing a roping thing. There's a boat coming up the river. And they fish out this body, this poor woman, and they get it to shore and they look. And it was a blow-up doll. Sexual in nature. And I'm reading the story on Newsweek is the story that I got it from. The source I got it from. And Newsweek mentioned that it was called a Dutch wife. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that or not. It sounds really dirty, but it's called a Dutch wife. And that's what they referred to it as in the article. And the article included how much the doll was, I guess, for inquiring minds. And I thought, I know the pandemic's been rough on people financially speaking. Did Newsweek get a little under the table, little cash flow here by basically printing up an article for how much the doll was? Or excuse me, for like, first off, where you can find it, the name of it, and also how much it was. Which, by the way, in case you're in the market, $452 or 50,000 yen in Japan, which is where this story takes place. So there you go. From that to this, Conan O'Brien went off the air last night, ladies and gentlemen. He signed off after 11 years on TBS. I love Conan O'Brien. I watched him from his first shows at NBC when he took over for David Letterman, who's one of my all-time favorite television personalities ever, if not my favorite. And I remember thinking, who the hell is this guy? And I loved the chemistry between him and Andy Richter. I was a big Johnny Carson fan. Johnny Carson was like 10, or I was 10 when Johnny went off the air in 1992. And I always grew up watching the Johnny Carson best of tapes, like the 4 VHS tapes my parents had of Johnny Carson. I like studied them as a kid. I just loved it. And Conan was similar to that in the sidekick type of format to the show. Very spontaneous. There was a lot of David Letterman in his show. There was hardly any Jay Leno, and I was never a big Jay Leno fan. And there was a little bit of Johnny Carson, but more David Letterman than anything in terms of you've never seen this before, and then he would do it on the show. I remember his 5-year anniversary in NBC was just one of the funniest hours of television I ever seen. And I'm going to miss seeing him on the regular basis. And he certainly was adapting to this new media that we're in. I remember him on Saturday Night Live as a writer. He would be in the background of a lot of sketches. If you remember the original Five Timers Club SNL sketch, he was the doorman that took Steve Martin's jacket at the door. But anyway, shout out to Conan O'Brien on just one hell of a run. He will be missed on TV. I'm sure he'll come back doing something else, but pretty awesome to watch him. I DVR'd it, and after the Suns game, I put that on and watched a lot of it. Jack Black was hysterical. But yeah, so just shout out to Conan O'Brien. And finally, let's close with our Big Bets segment. That was our Morning Rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com. So, yeah, you know what I did? I went ahead and took the over on Devin Booker last night and lost that, so I still suck at life. So anyway, I got no advice to give people. I'm a beaten man. I'm going to take the weekend off. I'm going to come back refreshed. I'm going to give you some great bets. That's what I promise you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. For the people that joined us on the chat today that are normally podcast people, welcome aboard. It's nice to have you. All right, Matt, there's no rebuttal there. Creepy Farzy definitely knows about the Dutch wife, the Dutch lady, whatever. I don't know. It just sounded dirty. You can look up the story. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And how about this? The rant that I did yesterday, and it wasn't even a rant, but the little the 3-minute clip that we put out there yesterday, Jim Hyden does a great job producing the program. Put that little 3-minute clip together. Got almost 1,000 views on our YouTube channel there. So thanks for everybody that checked that out, especially people down there in the ATL who apparently I pissed off. Anyway, T-Bro's asking me something here. Do any of them know you? Yes, people do know me. People know me. Yeah, people will catch me. Like they know. A lot of times they'll be like, Farzy the field. And then they just won't do it. They'll keep walking because they think my goal is to make them look like an idiot. And it's not. But people a lot of times stop and say hi and all that stuff, which is always cool. And then I'm like, what's funny is I'll always ask them the question, and then they'll start to answer, and I go, "Oh, wait, can I get this on camera?" Because you never want to do the show in the green room, as we say, folks. And they do, and they're just awesome, and it's really nice. But anyway, once again, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, everybody. Great to have you. Have a wonderful weekend. My thanks to Jim Hyden, who produced the program. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. Let's go, Phillies. Let's try to let's at least split this series with the Mets, please. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'm Marc Farzetta here from the Steven Singer Studios. And also my thanks to Jack McCaffery, who joined us today. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take it easy.